Well, hello everybody. This is Pastor Henzie Green, and I want to celebrate you for being on the line. This is PowerLunch, Bible for business-minded people. And so I want to give everybody just a few moments to jump on the line. I was away from you for last couple weeks with the holidays, but we are back now. And I always count it a privilege and a pleasure to have a few moments just to share with uh, business minded people, which is my specialty. Want to give everybody just a few moments to get online. Once again, I'm Pastor Henzie Green, Senior Pastor of Emmaus Christian Church. We're located in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Lafayette Square Mall, 3919 Lafayette Road. Well, let's do a passage today. It's a very familiar passage for many. It was a movement and a phenomenon that swept the country a while back. A little book called The Prayer of Jabez, and it's First Chronicles 4, and it reads as follows. Now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bore him in pain. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him what he requested. So today, if I was going to subtitle, I'd just call today Bigger. I've been doing a lot of thinking and a lot of prayer around the concept of bigger. For those of you that know that God is calling you to something bigger, often it can be a very difficult space. Difficult because a lot of people are not comfortable with your bigger. The truth is that most people like for you to stay small or at least relatively close to where they are. When you start blowing up, it starts to take people's excuses away, and they are very uncomfortable with that. So, what many of us have done is we have begun to accept smaller even when we know we were designed for bigger. The other thing that happens is an attack of low self esteem. And that is when something innately in you is calling you to bigger, but you're having those kind of self doubts as to whether you can really handle bigger. Now, there's been, this move right now. You hear a whole lot about imposter syndrome and some of that. But I am challenging you right now to let God help you pull yourself into a bigger space. One of the things that has been major for me this year that God has really opened my eyes on is that the faith to dream is different than the faith for the process. Or I like to say it this way, the faith for the promise, which is another way of saying what you're thinking, how you feel, what's bigger for you. That faith for the promise is separate to faith for the process. So here we see Jabez ask God to expand his territory. Now, he doesn't know exactly how God will expand his territory, but he has the faith to trust God for bigger, even when he doesn't understand how bigger is going to happen. Now, that's one of the main things I have to get to you, because God showed me how often, even in the Bible, the understanding the process undermines your ability to trust God for bigger. Almost every time when God shows up and he's doing something bigger, that's miraculous, that's supernatural, the first question people ask is, how is that going to happen? Mary did it. When when the angel shows up and says, you're going to have a child, and she says, how is that going to happen, seeing that I don't have a man? In other words, she's saying, I don't have what I need to fulfill the promise you're speaking over my life. And that's what we have to understand, even as business people, that to really lead a godly lifestyle, it is going to require that we partner with God. And whenever God is calling you to something, it will always seem like something is missing. Same thing with Abram. When God says, I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. And Abraham says, how do I know that, seeing that I go childless? And so what he's saying is, I don't even have what I need to do what it feels like you're calling me to do. But God is showing me that sometimes when it's really huge, and that's the people I'm talking to, when it's really huge, you have to have faith for the promise, faith for the bigger, and separate out the process at the moment. Because there are moments when we can't even conceive the bigger that God wants to release into our lives. And so, because we can't conceive a path to get to the bigger, we will discount the bigger, or what I like to call smush it down. It's still the same thing, but it's bigger than we can handle. So we start smushing it down. And so it's not the bigger that God has for you. And I want to encourage you that you have to do some work to expand your imagination. Jabez asked God to enlarge his coast or expand his territory. I think in one version it says, enlarge my coast. And I want you today to consider enlarging the coast of your imagination. This is going to be a tough statement, but you are literally limiting God because of the scope of your capabilities to imagine. Okay? Let me give you Bible. When it says, now unto him that's able to do exceeding abundantly all that I ask or think. So what that's saying is, it is you that sets the parameters by what you ask or what you think. And then God will exceed it, but you are still setting the bar. And I just want to encourage you as business people, if you set the bar here, God will exceed it. If you set the bar here, God will exceed it. If you set the bar here, God will exceed it. And so you have to understand your bigger is still determined by the way you talk and the way you think. And so I really just wanted to get on today to encourage somebody that you have to begin to expand your territory. I've recognized when I'm talking to people these days that so many people are living such small lives, not because they don't have bigger in them. It's just because they lost the capacity to even imagine bigger. So, here's the exercise. Start dreaming as big as you can possibly imagine. So when you've reached the edge of what you think would be incredible, quadruple it and go further. As you come into the end of the year, it's a great time to revision, reimagine. I believe God wants to expand your territory. Now, what you have to do is expand your mind, expand your capabilities to even conceive more, and then allow God to do the work through you to get you to bigger. Well, this is Pastor Henry Green. I am once again so excited to have these few moments to spend with you. This is Power Lunch. We're here at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. Tune back in. join us as we explore the Bible as it relates to business-minded people. Just know, whatever you're thinking, God is saying, nah, bigger. Let that be your word, bigger.